Hello? Uh, I don't think it was picking up my mic volume. If it's all good now, and just let me know if there's any audio issues going forward. Whoever's watching, if anyone's watching. But, yeah, I talked a little bit, and I guess the mic wasn't working. Hello! We are going to be working on game development again. Yay! Last week, sat down, did some planning on a project inspired by arcade Mario Bros. Called we were calling the Brothas. Uh, yeah, we're gonna be continuing to work on that. I did a little bit since then, but not a ton. Uh, Mostly sat down and tried to nail down the design for one of the characters. I decided I think I want to work in Godot on this game, which I've never done before. Opened up a Godot project, got a couple of things laid out, and I started a document to get test animations worked out so that I can start writing code without having finalized animations to tie it to. Um, Still very early stuff, and that's honestly about all that's happened since then. So, yeah, it's mostly in a similar spot to last week. Uh, I think I'm going to not start working on the coding side of this on stream, at least not now. I would like to at least have enough familiarity with Godot that I'm not sitting here quietly, like, humming and hawing and doing research on how to use Godot on stream. If I'm going to be doing anything like that, I'd like to at least have enough familiarity with the software to know how to navigate it, so it's not as dull for the viewers. So I think I'm going to be sticking for now to more of the visual and conceptual side of the development. And we're still definitely early, so there's plenty of conceptual work to do. Um, so yeah, hopefully I will be joined by co-commentators of any kind in the near future, or viewers, but I see no reason to wait just about any longer. So, yeah, gonna go and open up a document and start working again. Um, Actually, I think it's also worth noting. I This isn't the only game project I'm working on. This is the one I want to put the most effort into at the moment, simply because it's the one I'm doing on stream, and thus I have the most dedicated actual schedule to it, but we'll see. I spent some time working on an old project have wanted to do since high school. It's like a long term dream project for me. Just doing some concept stuff. I have some other projects on the back burner, but just, yeah. For now, let's pull up the screen. Whoa. Crazy. So yeah, I got a design and general art direction down, I think, for Bro. Everything can always be changed, but it's where I think I'm at right now. Uh, yeah, crazy. Let's create a new group for Brosif. So I decided since last time, I don't think I might have talked about maybe considering it, but I don't think I formalized anything. Bro is a trans man. Specifically, Bro is pre-op. and that's part of the character design I wanted to lean into. Uh, he wears thicker, baggier clothing because it helps him with his gender affirmation. It's easier to mask his more feminine body shape in a way that, with baggier clothing, it's easier to, especially if you have smaller breasts, it's easier to hide that. If it's easier to make your torso look more square, and people are more likely to, you're more likely to pass. Uh, so it's one of the ways he leans to try to feel more comfortable in his skin. I like to imagine. I've been wondering about how I want this detail to be referenced in game. I definitely don't want it to be like in your face because this game doesn't have a narrative. I don't want the guy them running around like, hey, I'm trans. Did you know I'm trans? Like, no, most trans people don't even like that anyway. There's exception, of course, but a lot of trans people, just want to be viewed as their preferred gender identity and pass in society like anyone else would. So it would be kind of a disservice to be loud about it. But I don't want it to just be something that is a trivia fact that never shows up in the game. It just there should be a nod to it. I haven't decided exactly how. I keep imagining, like, in his room, there's like a classic style uh coin jar, as laughably optimistic as that sounds because of the actual state of the economy and how expensive these things are. I know, but I'd like to imagine, just as a bit of symbolism, a bit of imagery, that like on his desk is a coin jar for putting in a little bit of savings every time, and it has like a trans pride flag on it, with the implication being this is money being saved for gender affirming surgery. Again, a coin jar for tiny savings to save up for that is definitely not how that works. No, it's way too expensive, I realize, but it's more about the symbolism than the logical realism of that. And also, it doesn't make much sense for me to do that in game, simply because when would his house show up? Why? If it makes sense, then sure. But, most of this would be taking place in, like, battle arenas and, like, sewers or, like, alleyways or, different urban environments. There's not much of a reason for somebody's room to be a location you see. I'd have to think about it. Whatever way it manifests, I want it to naturally integrate into the game and not be me yanking it around just to pull attention to this. I'm confident I can figure something out, but it's the kind of thing I'll just come up with an answer as I work out how this game exactly is going to look. But yeah, I just wanted to address that. He's also, just a little shorter than average, which is common for, women on average are shorter than men. So being a trans man, something he can't exactly help is that he's genetically just not as tall as most men are. Which doesn't stop you from passing. I'm a short man, and I'm not trans. So, doesn't necessarily mean much, but it's just another little detail. Something, I wanted to balance it in a way that you could reliably see and believe that this character is a somewhat typical example of a pre-op trans man, but also not do it to the extent where it's like flaunting their gender identity. I wanted them to still pass. Like, because the risk you could run with that, or I think I said that correctly. Now I'm blanking. Whatever. But the risk coming with that is that you could end up inadvertently implying a sort of delegitimacy by trying to emphasize that somebody is a pre-op trans person by implying, see, you can tell they're not actually the gender. Haha. Like no, that's not how that works. They are that gender identity, you know. And the goal is not to de-affirm their identity, it's to, in fact, what I wanted to do with this by making it a pre-op trans man is I want to affirm that you don't need an operation to have a to identify as a gender. That's not how gender works. So, by representing a pre-op trans man, the hope is that you are presenting an image that, operation or no operation, you're still just as valid as being male as any other guy. And to do that, it's a delicate balance of trying to represent that corner of people who identify as as the opposite gender of their assigned gender, but also have not yet, or for whatever reason just haven't medically transitioned, and representing that demographic of people while not delegitimizing them. That's the goal. It's a difficult line to walk, but I'm trying to figure out how to balance that. I definitely intend to talk more about this, not just on stream, but off stream, with people who are definitely more personally invested in this than myself. I have a number of friends myself who are trans alongside people I know. So I'm definitely going to want to try to talk to more people about this. This is only first steps. It's early days. I don't want to it's good to get second opinions. But yeah, that's where my headspace is at with this. So that's bro. Went with a kind of like a split complementary color scheme with like the blue to like bluish purple. Uh, Hello, Coward Kotagi. Working on game development. I'm making a game inspired by arcade Mario Bros. Actually. Also, it was censored on the actual YouTube chat, but I see you said "What's up, head ass," which is making me think I'm. It implies I know you, and I don't recognize you by username, at least. But yeah, it's multiplayer battle game of some sort, inspired by arcade Mario Bros. Specifically, like the Super Mario All Stars battle mode they included, because that was like really shockingly fun, and I wanted to take that and like expand it and make it deeper, more complex, more playable characters, more stages. You know, just talking about the character concepts right now, and I was shortly going to move on to working on uh the second character, trying to finalize design a little more. Brosif. Yeah. Uh yeah, I have 4 characters figured out now. Jeez, wrong button. Uh Brosif, Brohemoth, and Little Sis. This is the minimum I'm looking for the roster, and I'm thinking I'm probably gonna want a couple more, but I want at least 4, especially given the game's supposed to be 4 player up to multiplayer. So yeah. Um, Create a new layer. No, this is definitely early days. I just came up with this well, I just started working on this last week on stream. I've only done a couple of things since then. So it's definitely not in any kind of stage where I can show a playable demo. I said a little bit ago, before anybody was on stream to watch me say it, that I'm actually planning on working in Godot to make this, which is an engine I've never used before. So I'm going to be trying to learn how to use it mostly off stream before I start to do anything like that on stream. I would rather not be sitting there like blindly faffing about, not knowing what I'm doing with a piece of software on stream and boring people who might be watching. So for now, we are in concepts, which is okay. We still have a lot that needs to be ironed out. I've heard a lot of great things about Godot. I have reason to believe I would rather like it. I just haven't touched it before. Most of my experiences with GameMaker, and I'm trying to learn Unity, but Godot has definitely caught my attention. Alrighty. So let's just try to scoot this over a bit and turn off the touchscreen so I don't accidentally rotate it. So I'm thinking with Broseph here, he's got a lot of jewelry and just accessories to him. He's got a bit of this like he's got this like, how do I put it? He's somebody who has a lot of care about his personal appearance, but the style he leans into is very it's very modern urban, but it's also not doing it in a way that feels it definitely isn't cheap. You can tell that there's some amount of either wealth or dedicated effort being poured into this, or both. Probably both. Into his appearance. And despite wearing a number of trends associated with this fashion style, with things like gold chain and the more casual urban appearance, he doesn't fall as much into some of the tropes associated with that. One of them is that he's definitely gets the vibe of an intellectual, where like I'm imagining him as being like a college student who's like going real hard on a degree that's probably going to make him serious bank when he gets older. And he has this casual fun demeanor, but like he's just really well dressed, just despite the casual fashion sense it goes for, you know. That's my thought process for the character. He also is he has dreads is how I was imagining it. Uh I'm thinking he'd wear the beanie. He'd have some like nice glasses. Thinking about what kind of a jacket I want to get him. It could be just leathers, but I'm gonna think about it. So I turned off touch and I tried to zoom in. Nice. Turn back off touch. Brush size. There we go. Give him that like squarer nose. Something like that. Maybe playing around with line and where I want to emphasize detail. Is he one of those guys who has those glasses that don't have a top frame and just close off there? Just thick enough to leave a presence, but still really thin. Hoping hoping to maintain people's interest. Try to I'm gonna try to talk through as much as I can my thought process rather than just silently sitting here and doing it. And hope I'm not slowly going insane, talking to myself with nobody watching. Just pretend that I have an audience. How did I make the eyes on there? Yeah, simple dot eyes. I think I want to stick with the oval thing. Yeah, it's here for a good old time. Get those, like, prominent and just hint of attitude in his eyebrows, I think. I want the guy to look warm and friendly, but I want him to have just a bit of an edge to him, you know? A guy who would be really fun to hang out with, but the instant you try to, like, diss on him or step on his toes, you are in for an earful, and not like a raving, incoherent, like, you're about to get shit on. He will win. That kind of a vibe. Very square jaw, but a lean and angular face. It's doing that fucking thing. There we go. Try to get some fucking stability in my hand there. Maybe not quite that big, but I want to give him like hoop earrings, like just gold hoops. A little showy, but not. And despite the fact that it's not a traditionally masculine set of earrings, he would wear it in a way that doesn't necessarily make him feel effeminate, just fucking feeling more like it's bling, you know? At least that's the thought. Maybe do something like that with his ears. Try to straighten out that line. And not particularly succeed at it, but that's pretty good. Uh, can't draw a straight line to save my life. Uh, I probably brought this up last time on stream, but I constantly have an issue where basically I have hand tremors. My hand doesn't stay still. As far as I'm aware, it is not a medically significant hand tremor. It's just like it's not a sign of like a degenerative disease or anything. It from what it seems is just I have hand tremors, and as a result, I can struggle to draw a straight line, especially when I'm drawing slow. It is filled with little bumps. So, using Photoshop with a drawing tablet, I crank up that smoothness to make it not nearly as much of a problem. It is a godsend. Slide this a little higher up. Yeah, it really helps. If people are wondering, I am using a drawing tablet. It is not one of those fancy ones that has a display screen. So you'll see me sitting here off camera drawing like with it on my lap, but my eyes are up here at the monitor watching what I'm doing. So that's why you're not seeing me hunched over like this. Going like, what is my the display is over here, but my hands are down here.
Yeah.
Hey Red, how you doing?
Like, just working on drawing the characters.
At the moment. I don't think I would like that to be the only thing I do today in the stream, but it's what I'm doing right now. How big do I want the chain links to be for the necklace? Maybe they need to be more stylized for the scale they're at, because otherwise I'm going to need to add an insane amount of detail. That would not be very readable at its scale. I was talking at the beginning of the stream about my thoughts with how I want to handle Bro in terms of characterization and presentation and representation.
Hmm. And
Well, I mean, it's complicated. It's also mostly stuff I've talked to you about, but
like,
you know, I the biggest concern is representing pre-op trans people in a way that doesn't delegitimize them, but also doesn't mask that this is a category of people. Like it's difficult to represent them in a way that is distinct from just representing trans people as a group,
hmm,
while also not implying that they are delegitimate in some fashion by like saying, "Oh, see, they are not truly with matching their gender identity because they don't pass or something." Like that the goal isn't to make it so they don't pass, but you also need to design it in a way that still represents pre-op trans people in a way that doesn't just make it invisible. Because especially given I'm not narratively going, this game won't have a narrative to explore it directly. It's all just indirect representation, you know. So it's a balancing act. Still not sure exactly what ways I'll be dropping hints to the character being trans in the first place, but it's again definitely going to be more on the subtle side because of the lack of a narrative and the way this game's focus works, and it would be a disservice to trans people to treat it in a way where it needs to be justified, you know,
hmm,
rather than just a natural part of the world, given the way I'm writing this.
yeah. Did it feel like there should be some kind of hint in game and not just not like just a fun fact outside the game sort of thing?
Yeah, no, I don't want it to be just like a thing you'd have to look outside the game to know.
Yeah.
But that's just a difficult balance to achieve, where it you where it's represented in the game but doesn't come across as in your face or preachy. Like as much as it's like a oh the reactionaries get upset because trans people exist in their media. It's not even that. It's just doesn't do a service to trans people or being inclusive if it's in your face and not well thought out. It can be in fact quite harmful if it's not handled well. So definitely trying to be cognizant of that. Probably going to ask some of my trans friends at some point about my thoughts and how they feel about it. But
Tends to be a good idea.
I usually do that when doing something like this. I just haven't gotten to that point with this.
Yeah, there's some like trans characters that I have ideas for and like some stuff that I want to do. But don't quite have anyone to talk to about that other than like a couple of your friends.
You know, uh, I did introduce you to Jill and Bailey.
Yeah, like those are the only two that I actually know on any personal level.
I'm certain Bailey would have plenty to say. I told you I didn't really meet Bailey until college,
Hmm.
but she did go to high school with me. She was in
Hmm.
my grade. Just not somebody I ever really interacted with basically at all. Recently was looking through my high school's yearbook for my graduating year, and found a number of people, but including Bailey in there. It was interesting. Given I didn't know Bailey pretty much at all back then, it was interesting seeing the some of the circles she was in at the time, and people I recognize, and like, oh hey, those are people I know and she knew, and huh,
Hmm.
it's a small world out. I also realized the only place I think I did recognize Bailey from, at least in terms of like her face, was believe she was one of the theater kids,
Hmm.
and my sister was involved in theater, and there was other theater kids in my grade I knew. So I think by proximity, I've at least seen her around a couple of times before at the time, just not really on a personal level. Also, something theater kid. No, I'm kidding.
Hmm.
Trying to strike a visual balance between that urban casual and this guy looking like he's not dressing cheaply. You know,
Hmm.
like he's leaning into a very how do I put it? Luxurious, I guess you could say, fashion sense in that styling, not just dressed in, you know, cheap clothes that are comfortable to wear. Because he
Hmm.
definitely is supposed to be a fashion minded individual who's got a very strong sense of style, and the his use of jewelry is supposed to double down on that. He's not going just lightly or passively into this. He has got a bit of an expensive taste, despite the casual roots of this fashion style.
Hmm.
And the casual aspects of the fashion style lean into his more playful demeanor. Ugh. So, I should address Red. I did not get the voice recording done today.
Hmm.
Quite literally, once again, my grandfather was on a series of calls. That was fun. That said, there is no reason I can't do it tomorrow, given I'm not streaming tomorrow. I will be here. My will be alone in the home again. And because I'm not streaming, there's a lot more time for me to find a spot where I have a quiet moment like I do now, you know, to record and not have an interruption. Also, my Friday things were canceled. So
Hmm.
I literally have all day. Not just for the recording. That runs out of a good window when my brother gets home. But you know what I mean.
All right.
I'm sorry if it's a load of excuses and it partially my fault, but like, god damn it.
And I not in any immediate need for it, but that might, be soon when I do. Just
What kind of an undershirt should he have? Should it be something louder? Something that undercuts the whole casual thing with a bit more flamboyance to it?
hmm,
Just as a little tease. Similar to how the jewelry operates on this. To, I think it would help to keep him from just looking like a high paid or a high income hobo, you know? Oh, forgot the little detail here. What I fucking forgot. Shit. Okay, turned off touch. Anyway, um, part of me wants to just go and say, okay, so a floral, like a fucking Hawaiian shirt. Here we go. No, but
hmm.
he's actually just got no shirt under there, and he's ripped. He's just got like boom, boom, and like the hairy chest, the fucking six pack, and oh god, his oh no, no. Anyway, hey, I should probably share my screen for you. I definitely didn't just draw a tuft of hair right above his crotch.
Hmm.
It's okay. There was nothing visible. I can't be taken down. Not yet, Susan.
Not today, Susan.
No, but that's not the direction I want to go with this. um. Uh. Oh my god, you know those like God, what would you call them? But you know those like wealthy dudes wearing those fucking tiger print shirts that have like
Mm.
this low cut on them?
Hmm.
I don't want to go fully in that direction, but that is the kind of like flamboyant, loud, uh, screaming of personality that I'm looking for. Is that kind of a vibe? So I don't think I'd go for the whole tiger print thing. That's just vaguely it's got implications. But I do think leaning into that kind of vibe could be good. Especially since it's not just what he's wearing, it's underneath a like leather jacket. I do think a deep V cut though does have a bit more of that playful vibe than just a casual look. Hey Super Flame, how you doing?
It's funny how in between this and the last stream, got the new Mario commercial that references the Super Shows theme.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. If it wasn't for the fact that I'm just starting to make the game, it would be good advertising timing.
Yeah, yeah. As I heard someone mention on Twitter, if if they're willing to reference the Super Show for this, and if that the rumors of a DK movie after this are true, would they be willing to reference the DK cartoon?
Coconut cream pie. Wait. Cat wants in my room.
Yeah, checked out the website. Didn't call the number, but I've
I've seen someone
heard
call the
it.
number. Yeah, it's a.
Yeah,
There's no lap cat. You can't get here. I have a drawing tablet on there. He's gonna try anyway. He's circling me like a shark looking for a vantage point.
okay. So will it be referencing the DK cartoon, or would they just go to the DK rap?
Here we go. The DK rap is definitely the safer route.
Yeah.
Maybe going for that Hawaiian floral thing isn't the worst idea, simply because it gives it a fun vibe without the uh more creepy energy that can come with something like a tiger print.
Hmm.
But I don't know if that's literally what I want to go for. Or maybe I keep it as a flat pattern or a flat shirt like this, but it's like a pink, like a bright pink.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I think that actually would do pretty well, and given its size, it doesn't and the art style, it doesn't have a ton of room to flesh out detailing. So that might actually just be a good play to give him like his
Yeah.
bright pink V-cut shirt underneath the this jacket. I definitely would need to plan the color palette around that. No cat. Can't be on my lap. That's a drawing tablet. He's so disappointed. Have I done any programming before? Yeah. I'm definitely still relatively new and novice to it, but I am not coming from zero experience. I have been working in Game Maker as a hobbyist since I was in like sixth grade. I took a Java course in high school, and since then have been trying to focus on making game development my career path. Uh, More recently, like last year, I've been on and off trying to get more familiar with C Sharp to work in Unity. Although that's a work in progress, but it's got a lot of similarity to Java, which makes it not the hardest to adapt to. Um, but yeah, I'm not coming in blind, but I'm definitely no expert. Programming is something I have a good head for. I just need better education. Part of my problem is I learn better in a hands-on environment with somebody who is more experienced than myself, ask questions and interacts directly. Which is not as conducive for just looking at tutorials, which I still use and still can learn from, but it takes a lot more effort and it's not as intuitive. Um, as such, I wish I could just go take courses on it, but that definitely costs money. I mean, I have had my fair share of head bashing with programming. He's got those like designer denim jeans that are so like they're They are so prim and clean that they almost just look like slacks, but with a denim texture. You know what I mean? Perfectly straightened. And now to put him in socks. Not going angular enough on the socks. Okay, I think that's pretty much it. I just want to finalize the outlines, make them thick and nice. take the line on this side and clean it up there. And I'm almost done with the outline. Oh, fucking hell. Stop rotating the canvas. My gloves, my digital art gloves have a hole in it right where my palm touches the tablet. It is very inconvenient. And there. Might need to go touch up and thicken the line in a couple of spots, but yeah, it's mostly a similar product to what I did with Bro. I think I did multiple passes on the outlining for Bro, where I just kept making it thicker in spots until I felt happy with it. So, to an extent, I kinda need to do that here. It theoretically should not take as long to accomplish in this case, simply because I did the experimenting on Bro to figure out where I wanted it to be. And I just need to replicate that rather than figure it out, but still, it will not just be one pass, or two passes even. Right now I'm on my third pass. Let's go. Come on. Trim that back. I think I like that. Only thing I think I want to adjust is make the jacket pop a little bit more over the other clothing articles, highlighting the fact that it is draped over them with a little bit of height, you know? Make it look visibly implied to just have that that hierarchy. Cat, give me a moment. It's always when I'm doing shit like this that they decide to get antsy. They sit there perfectly happy and content with their lives, and then I'm working. Hi. I've got 3 cats on me right now. Yeah, it is opposite mine. Which, looking at my glasses, I should actually wipe them down a little bit. Um, Adding a little bit of a shadow to the line underneath his hat. Just a touch would probably make it a little better there, too. It's definitely not the same art style, but I am noticing some inadvertent similarities between this and the Paper Mario aesthetic.
Mhm.
Okay, let's turn off the sketch layer and let's make a new flats layer. Let's get some flat colors down. First thing, let's get his skin tone defined. I'm thinking of something kind of like caramelly on the dark end. Because of the heavy use of dark blacks in this color palette, I need to make the colors just a little brighter than I would otherwise so that they have a good contrast against the line work. Otherwise, it would blend right in with the lines and be hard to read. Like I wanted them to have like dark hair, like implied to be basically black hair, but as you can see, that's a very middling gray because I needed the non-shadowed tone to be easy to distinguish from the shadow and the black lines. It's the kind of concessions you need to make with this art direction. Because they have their hands in their pockets and are wearing thick clothes, I think that his uh I think that his he doesn't have any other visible skin besides his face and ears in this pose. So let's not make the necklace look like it's clipping into his chin, but is under his chin, like the rest of his clothes. Also left out this ear when I was putting down those flats. Let's take a similar color, go a little more into the deeper, cooler direction with it. Put that down. Come on. Can you let me scroll sideways with the... There we go. Okay. I want a color that can look like it's got a slight blue tint over what would be orange. And achieving that look, I think, requires me to desaturate and gray it a bit in a way that implies that it's being mixed with blue, because blue is polar opposite to brown, because brown is an orange. So it would have a desaturating effect on the color, but also it should be brightening his skin relative to it. So trying to figure out that balance where it gets across looking like glasses. Oh, that was you. Just pouring all red. Ooh, never mind. God. Anyway. So, let's borrow the hair colors I used for Bro, because honestly, he would have a very similar hair color. I do think his darker skin tone than Bro makes the hair look artificially lighter, despite using the exact same color, which could be an issue. See what I'm saying? What happens when I add the shadows in? It could just not be enough. Might need to go a bit darker. And just hope that there's still enough room for it to have a shadow and still stand out from the black. I'm gonna actually borrow the yellow though of Bro's hair tips for the gold. It's a very similar color to what I'd be looking for that. Oh, he does have more exposed skin. That's right, because I gave him a V cut shirt. Gave him some notable chest hair, but it's mostly hidden by the shirt. You just get a peek. Um, there's one more spot where the gold would be, well, two. There's also the belt buckle, but also his chain here. Okay, I think the next thing I'm gonna need to figure out is vaguely what kind of a pink his shirt should be. I want it to be bold, but it can't be so bold as to just dominate everything else. It needs to look bold in comparison to the other colors on him. That's an important thing to remember. Bold and brash, but it does not belong in the trash. Pink and yellow and brown. Where do those fall on a color wheel? I'm gonna go look at a color wheel for a moment. I'd also prefer to look at an RGB color wheel because I reject the RBY format out of principle. So we got yellow, brown, which is an orange, and a pink. It's a very loose, analogous scheme. A good split complementary color would be blue, more particularly like a cyan kind of a blue, or a sky blue. Not unlike what Bro has going on with his hat. But incorporating a richer red to go deeper into the split analogous could be a good thing. And it could be good to actually get like that mahogany in there. In fact, that could be a good color for the leather jacket. A deep, dull red. Verging on purpley. To make it look like a red leather, which definitely would look a bit bougie. You know what I mean? I might not even go for a complementary color. I might stick to analogous to not add more to the color scheme, which is already getting a bit complex, but also to uh, try not to infringe too much on the color scheme of Bro over there, given that brighter sky blue is already a part of his color scheme. And he's already a split complementary, and I'd be moving it to a slightly different split complementary. I do want to say, gameplay wise, I'm imagining Brosif as being the Luigi to Bro's Mario.
Hmm.
Hence why he has similar proportions, except being a little taller. And he's not literally leaner, but because he doesn't have as baggy clothing, it feels leaner. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now that I've got a barometer for that, I do think the pink's a bit too bold compared to every other color. Dulling it like that might be good enough. I'll see. Or honestly, maybe not. A pink that borders on white, and I could actually go and just extend it to also cover the buttons at that point. And I could decide to use that pink as a replacement for white in his scheme, much like I did the pale yellow for Bro. So, like, go and make his socks this pink, you know? Which I think actually is just a nice way of balancing out the color to not just appear in one place in his scheme.
Hmm.
I was originally going to make him have darker socks, but I think this rounds out the palette a bit more. I am going to lean a little bit into a blue, but I want to gray it. So I think I'm going to try to make it vaguely a similar feel to his hair color. You know what I mean? I could also just literally use his hair color and not even go for a blue. Go for like a gray look, which would make it look a lot more like slacks than a denim, but it's already got that shape, but you know.
Hmm.
It's a bit of a departure from the look. Still, I play around a lot less with color than other artists do. Not because I don't like playing with color or I don't know how to or something, but literally just it seems like when I find a color scheme I like and put it down, I seem to just like the color scheme and tend to be less fickle. And I don't know if that's a good thing or not.
Hmm.
A lot of artists will sit there for hours swapping around the colors. And it's definitely something to think about of like, is that representative of me being not as settled as an artist and still learning, or is that me just being very confident with color? I don't know. I also try not to worry about it. It's not a big deal. If it's something I'm improving on and I pay attention and try to improve in my art, it'll naturally get better as I go. If it's something that needs to get better, as long as I'm not just complacent. We're going to. I think I'm going to use the brown of his skin for his belt to keep that color in the palette lower down so it doesn't just disappear. A little visual nod. And I think his beanie could be a similar ruddy reddish color to his jacket. Color Splash has just inextricably added ruddy to my vocabulary.
Hmm.
It's a word I already knew before, but ever since playing Color Splash with its second level being Ruddy Road, or first like real level,
Hmm.
uh, it's just been a word I use to describe color a lot because it's just a really nice label to describe a certain type of red. This like muddyish, almost purple red of varying stages of washed out to not very washed out to significantly washed out, but just in general that muddy purpley red. I don't know.
Hmm.
No, Mario Party 7 has not caused me to start speaking like Toadsworth. Also, hey Allie, I'm putting together the more finalized design, and in this case, the color palette for uh, Brosif. Getting the colors to a spot I like them. Hmm. Where is the line on the pink adding fun to it while also not standing out too much that it feels jarring? Do I go more saturated and not as no, no, I don't think more saturated is the answer. Darker? Or do I lean into a different color shift? More red, more purple? If I go more red, I think it falls a bit more in line with the color palette if I go more red. Like, thank you. I want the pink to be a splash of a bit of a playful fun without completely destroying the color balance and feel in what is otherwise a very muted and analogous color scheme. The gold acts in a similar way, but I'm pretty happy with the gold. I think the gold should be attention drawing and it's only in small splashes. The pink's a bit more substantial. I think I like that. I'm not sure. I might go back later and go, oh, I hate that. The solution could be to go and take this and go just a hair deeper with it so it's not quite as much of a contrast, but doesn't force me to make the pink less intense. But that could end up stepping a bit on the point of the pink if I'm not careful. I think that was a bit far, but I did like how it looked. It's too bright. It needs to remain notably darker than the pink. Could go deeper and darker. Just a generally dark color palette, but that does keep the pink sticking out is if it's the bright contrast to the dark palette alongside the yellows. Feels loud. Okay. I like it being darker than the others. I could desaturate it a bit, but oh wow, the pink is bleeding into the pants there. Hmm. I want him to be chill, but I just want to give him a splash of energy, just a hint to give him like that edge that he's not just laid back. Yeah, I also was thinking about that. Um, Hopefully the shading can do some heavy lifting on making it so they're easier to read. I'm going with very saturated shading in general, where the blues pull all of the colors are pulled into this blue or cooler direction with the shadows. So even desaturated colors with the shading would start to get pulled into a more dynamic direction. I have all three of our four cats. I know that's a weird statement, but it makes sense to the target demographic here. But I have the three of them all in here. The one you see is Charlie. Hmm. I think I'm in a good spot to start applying some shading to the characters. Um. So, generally speaking, a light source up and to the right to catch their face in this concept art. So, let's try to be consistent there. This is jewelry. Try to give it a bit of that metallic feel to it. Music in the background of the stream. That's not a bad idea, actually, for this stream. I would need to consider what I would put on in the background, because given I'm not playing a game, I might not be able to get away as much with certain kinds of music because of copyright that I would in just like a gameplay stream. So I'd need
Mario Super Show theme on repeat.
We're the Mario Brothers, and plumbing's a game. We're not like the others who get all the fame. I still can't believe that fucking lyric. I'm never gonna get over it. I've mentioned it so many times, but like,
who are these others that get all the fame if it's not the Mario Brothers? Is it Scapelli?
the Wario Brothers.
Scapelli.
The Wario and Waluigi are brothers? No! Fanfiction destroyed. It's okay, they're gay. You know it, I know it. Would I get in problem with amazing English? Would I get into trouble for using game OSTs though?
Probably not.
Like with game music, they usually they used to be a lot worse about it, and it depends on the company. Some companies are still bad about game music even when you're playing the game, but most companies have recognized if you're playing the game to not make a stink about you having the music on stream, simply because you're not like just playing the music, you're playing the game, and that's an aspect of the game. But I'm just not convinced I'd be safe with that in something like this. I'd need to look more into it. I'm definitely not going to just slap it on this stream. But it is a good point. These are going to, by nature, have to be more chill than the other streams and more downtime. Because as much as I want to fill the air with talking, I still need to sit down here and focus. So having a more chill atmosphere with the music is definitely something that could help. Something just on the purple side of red for the skin shading. Yeah, that I think will work pretty well. That's true. Sonic OSTs don't tend to get taken down much in general. I actually wouldn't even mind putting on a Sonic OST in the background. We put on some Sonic lo-fi. Sonic the Hedgehog lo-fi Chaos Creators collab. So, what is this? Never seen it before. It's by Chaos Creators TX, and it's almost certainly a compilation of other creators. But let's just see if it's worth it. by Chaos Creators TX once again. I don't want to just play something and not credit it. Bye, Allie. Thought someone was knocking on my door. Nerf gun eyebringer. Oh my god. What is this an arrangement of? I don't remember. Oh god, it's the saying goodbye to a Chow in the Chow Garden. That's why it's depressing. Now I recognize it. Now that's just sad. Why'd I look? Now my heart hurts. Who just abandons their Chow and says, go live your life, be free. No. They're your baby. I think his face is a little dark. I'm also not shading him quite the same way I did for Bro. Gonna need to adjust that. want to pay child support. Fucking hate, man. Okay, let's take the shading on Rose hair. And let's just make it a bit darker so it works as a shadow here. Yeah, it's good. I like that. Do you like my sword, 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 my diamond, sword, sword, sword? Yo, there's all those fucking console players I keep seeing that keep saying that Netherite isn't even, like, good because it's not enough of an improvement over a diamond. I always find that so funny. It's just like, just stick with diamond. Netherite doesn't make a big enough difference as they list that it has improvements. It's just not as substantial as other tiers. It's like, well, if you have the Netherite, then just upgrade it anyway. It's still literally an upgrade with no downsides. People are funny. I mean, I will say there is a pizzazz to Diamond that Netherite doesn't have, but I do kind of like the intensity of it as an endgame tier. Of course, there's also the people who make the argument that diamonds itself is not really worth it because iron is almost as good and more abundant, but again, if you have the materials, you might as well. Not an argument that they couldn't improve the tiers or how they span, just as an argument of not using them, that's a little silly.
Apparently, Susan stepping down as CEO of YouTube.
Of the timings of my comments, that's kind of funny.
Not today, Susan.
I win, Susan! I win!
hope the next one isn't worse.
It is certainly possible. I haven't been keeping up too much with the next Minecraft update. I'm gonna be real. I'm a bit behind on Minecraft. I keep intending to go look back into it, but it's also, I know Minecraft is a time sink that if I start, I will just keep playing. It's not even anything they've done wrong. They've actually still been killing it with the updates. It's just... I know what happens. And I don't think it's the best idea to do that to myself. I'm actually pretty happy with Minecraft updates. They used to be... really... But ever since Update Aquatic, I've been actually rather happy. The only complaint I have is that it's slow, but they are making genuine improvements to the game, I found. Actually, I kind of agree with what they've done with Minecraft's aesthetic. Minecraft, I think, lost its old retro charm a while ago, and I think they were totally right when they said that the game was now a mishmash of stylistic choices and they wanted to double down on embracing it rather than trying to keep the mishmashed elements. I rather like the texture update. The only one I don't like is I don't like Netherrack because it wasn't just a stylistic change. They kind of missed the point of the block where it was literally bloodstone. It was stone with dripping blood and gore on it. I actually uploaded a standalone texture pack on Minecraft.net specifically to address that singular block and its variants because it was the only one that bothered me. And not just like the old Netherrack, just like an updated version of the new one to fit better. The cactus was an ugly texture before. It fit in with the retro Minecraft textures, but now it actually looks appropriate and has pretty good detailing and shading that matches the rest of the new blocks. I'm not going to deny that Minecraft had a specific charm and appeal to its old look. I just don't think it's had that for a long time, and that doubling down on the new aesthetic was a better choice. also do applaud them for thankfully keeping the programmer art option in the menu. In an ideal world, it would be supported with the new textures also being updated in that style as they add new blocks, but I understand that that might not be what they want to do, and thankfully there are plenty of creators with texture packs out there to address that, if people really prefer the older direction. I'm personally very happy with the new artistic direction, even if I have plenty of fond memories of the old Minecraft aesthetic. I'm not as familiar with the mobs post-Warden, because that update I barely kept up with because it took such a long time to get around that when it finally released, I was, like, moving on to other things. So the newest mobs I need to get a little more acquainted with. I was totally cool with things like Hoglins, the redesign. I am one of the people who likes the redesigned, from the old zombie pigmen to the zombified piglins. It makes them fit in better, they have a more pig-like appearance, I find them charming. It's sad to see the old guys go, but it makes a lot more sense with the new direction, and I think they look great. I do think some of the old mobs do stand out a bit, but I think they've mostly done a good job keeping, addressing that. I think they have a bit of an issue with some of the mobs they've added over the years of just random animals not feeling like they matter much for the game. And I get that they have this stance of not wanting to promote the killing of, you know, real-world animals for loot in general, and that's fair, but then don't double down on adding as much real-world animals if you're not going to give them a gameplay purpose, and it doesn't have to be killing them. What's it called? I'm blanking. Yeah, there was... Actually, a good example. Like, goats, I think, are one of the better implemented of the new mobs. They don't have a ton of use to them, but the simple fact that they are a neutral mob that will aggro on things as targets gives them farm potential. And it isn't for killing them. They are a mob that gives a gameplay utility if you want to use them creatively, just by a simple, unique AI difference, and I'm good with that. Compared to something like polar bears that kind of just exist. And I wish they had more to them than just sitting there. Turtles were a good addition, giving a new type of armor with a new passive benefit, and this is something, again, that they've gotten better at since Update Aquatic, because I think before then they kind of just added things, and they were just there in the game. I still fucking make fun of beetroot. It's such a silly plant. It's just worse potatoes in, like, every way. At least it gives you red dye, but, you know. I don't think I went bold enough with the shading on the pink. Too bold. It's not as simple as just saying they don't drop loot, so therefore, in real life, I don't want to kill polar bears. It has more to do with the image of treating animals as a category, as something to be exploited for resources, and not treated as, like, a part of nature to be respected. I still think Mojang could be doing better in that regard if that's their vision, but I do agree, especially given how much of their demographic is children. I would not have a problem if they didn't want to go that direction and did want to embrace it's a video game and it doesn't need to be emblematic of reality. But given the wide-swept scale of Minecraft as the biggest video game, best-selling of all time, them wanting to have a bit more of a positive cultural impact, I can get that. I respect it. That said, I feel like it would incorporate a better sense of respect if these animals had a mechanical purpose in maintaining them. And I'm not saying some complicated, esoteric, like, biodiversity thing, because that would be way too hands-on and complicated for something like Minecraft, but just something that promotes you having them around you. Dolphins are a good example of that, with the way they give you a buff just by being near you. I don't think every mob should work like that. That would be just a mess of mob buffs that would be fucking crazy and probably PC shattering. But, you know, that kind of a philosophy I think works really well. I think they also did a good job with turtles, in that the way you get something from turtles is by breeding, safely protecting them till adulthood to get their old scoots to make into shell resources. That's the kind of thing that I think does what they want to do better than just adding them in the game to look pretty. Did I update these flats to be the same color as the hair? Yeah, I did. Okay. Well, let's go to the socks. The Chow Garden lobby saw Adventure 2. Huh. This is a very different tone than the original piece. Anyway, I want to add some shading to the glasses, just a little, for a subtlety, and to eke it into that blue direction by implication. but nothing dramatic. Oh god. Alright. What do you think, Red?
You looks good to me.
He looks like a fun guy to hang around with. Which is part of the vibe I wanted. Bro's got that head leaning forward in almost like a challenging way, like he's ready to go and take you on. Whereas Brosif's got this head leaning back thing where it's passive and more like, I'm here to have a chill time. Let's hang around. But you know he's gonna take that competition seriously when it starts. Let's just go and get his name in there. Yeah, it's kind of like that. Maybe go for something a little more bubble letter type graffiti for his name here. A little less sharp. That's a Mirage Saloon right there. Right, it's the Super Paper Mario long toppy.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm you know what I'm talking about.
Forehead over here.
The Crimson Chin. Is that the opposite?
Crimson Chin and would be the opposite of Crimson.
Who is the evil opposite to the Crimson Chin? And I don't mean the Nega Chin. A man with a fucking fantastic jaw. Or not jaw, I mean forehead. Jaw, literally the whole point of Crimson Chin is his jaw. There's characters with big foreheads, but specifically to rival the Crimson Chin's chin as a forehead. Okay, so that's the initial outline of the text. Let's get a different brush out. Get like a splatter brush. Okay, let's try this. Coloring the text. Whoa. Let's maybe not try to do this all at once when I don't have a great visual reference point. Got some Sonic CD going on here.
Sonic CD's nut.
Rest in peace, Ryan Drummond. What the fuck? That man's not allowed to be dead. No, no, no. He's gotta make Sonic and Tails our Season 2.
Come on, Tails. You made it. All right, Tails.
No! To jail with all of you. Just because my man's a felon doesn't mean he did that. Alright. Pretty happy with that. Got, 2 of my 4 concepts in a near final state. Bohemian Rhapsody.
kind of kangaroo court is this? No food or movie. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, so... Okay. Put that in a group. Got my item ideas. So let's think about stats for these characters. Definitely the kind of thing I'm gonna need to think more about down the line and rebalance as I go. So, for you, I'm gonna change my brush back to a more normal one. Because I need to be able to fucking read it. Crazy, I know. Oh, smoothing is like off now because I changed brushes, right? Great speaks. Shut up, Tails! That's an interesting choice to throw into a middle of a lo-fi piece. I like the Sonic OVA, but it's always held back to me by the fucking cat girl and how creepy the movie is about her. Or the OVA. It's not really a movie. Like, in general, it gets Sonic really well. I just don't... That aspect of it has always been a bit of a holdback for me. Is she a monkey? I don't know. I really don't care. The Sonic OVA without her would be a fucking 100% improved product. It really has a lot of great stuff in it. I just don't like her. And how she's written. I guess she's a monkey, not a cat girl, but regardless, whatever she is a human person with, like, you know, animal, like, ears, tail. And she's, like, a teenager. I want to say, like, 15-ish, give or take. Her whole shtick is being whiny and a damsel. And Eggman wants to marry her. And they constantly make sexual jokes about her, whether it's her imagining being stuck in a marriage with Eggman, having a bunch of babies with him, or Tails groping her breasts on accident. And she's just annoying to watch in, like, every scene. She is an arrogant asshole. Like, most of the OVA genuinely gets Sonic and has a great tone and direction, and reminds me a lot of Sonic CD and what it's stylistically going for, and then she's there. I can understand if a lot of other people are able to much more easily just ignore her and appreciate it, but she just hurts my ability to enjoy the OVA. I will not deny, the OVA has a lot of great things going for it. She's not one of them. Yeah, and need I remind that she is a minor? Like, so is Tails, but the Eggman thing is really creepy. Like, I get he's the bad guy, but that was never the point of Eggman, and it distracts from all of the theming to just add that there. The OVA minus her is a great product. It is really good. She's bad. Shut Up Tails is such a fucking iconic moment. Let's give that a little space from speed so it's easier to separate if I want to add more stats to track. So I want them to have abilities. What would be good character appropriate abilities for them? Here's an idea. So what if Ro had a dive they could use on the ground or in the air to just get a burst of momentum forward? And also could be used for narrowly dodging, like, some choke points and getting out of sticky situations. I'm thinking it could have the downside given their relatively low weight of getting themselves pushed around with no friction to stop them. Kinda. I honestly, I'm thinking mechanically of just being similar to the Odyssey dive in 2D. He would be able to get out of some real shit moments with that. He is taller, a little heavier, a bit slower, but still similarly average in stats. Being relatively tall is definitely part of his design, and I could lean into that, but I'd have to think how. Or what if that chain in his pocket there, what if he could pull it out and, like, whip it out? And it isn't an attack. It can't hurt things. It can, but what it can do is grab things, like items, for example. I'd have to think of ways it would be useful. But I think having a lasso type ability could be fun. Let's not just limit ourselves to the two I've designed here, because I still have these guys that I already have concepts for. I just haven't finalized their design. So for him, he would be even more dramatic in this direction of being bigger, heavier, and slower.
Oh, working on character stats?
Yeah. Hey, Alec.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm working on character stats.
Okay.
No, I'm doing fine.
Yeah.
yeah.
I was just dealing with like a situation on my Discord server. You might have noticed a lot of activity in the serious convo, but
Oh yeah.
thankfully
Yeah.
thankfully Friday, well, I don't know if Friday saw it yet, but like Jay-Zumi is like apologized and was really understanding.
Yeah. I do want to say before you go too far, we are live.
Oh,
Uh,
cool.
I doubt you said anything that bad yet. Just letting you know before you go too much into personal
All right.
conflicts.
Not
For their
gonna
sake.
be, not gonna be live for today much longer, but
No, the stream's almost over.
Oh, all right. You, Disney XD are also streaming, so that's great. Which stream? That's what you look like? Holy crap!
Hi.
Not what I imagined. Like, kind of just imagine like long hair. You know,
I have long hair.
Well, okay, it's tied back. I was just.
Well, it's not
thinking,
tied
like,
back.
you
It's
know,
just behind the headset.
Okay. Well, I didn't know he had a beard. Nice.
You saw the Pagoda Peak video?
Yeah, I did, but
I'm
like,
letting you
just-
know that was not a very inaccurate depiction of myself.
Okay. Like, some people exaggerate, like Haydox for the longest time. I thought he looked like L, except with blonde hair from, like, Death Note for the longest time. Or more like Nier. You know, remember Nier? You know, like, he was L's successor. And just, like,
Okay.
that's what I imagine Haydox looking like, but no, Haydox had, like, shorter hair that was, like, blonde. His, like, didn't quite look like what I was expecting, and his, like, profile pic kind of depicted just a round face, but he had a very like very thin jawline. So
You know, I personally have a rounder head shape, and
Yeah.
I try to be relatively faithful with how I depicted that, just with the stylization in mind. I try.
well, it's nice to know it's like the profile pic's accurate.
But the one thing that got me with Haydox is I just thought he would have curly hair because of his avatar,
Yeah,
but he really doesn't.
I'm just surprised you were willing to like show your face. Like, kind of thought you valued your privacy for the longest time.
The space I'm in is more of the concern than my appearance. Personally.
Oh, okay.
But
Well, now I can attach a face instead of just imagining, like, you wearing like a mask with that H for your. That's like your profile has.
right.
Do you by any chance listen to heavy metal?
No. I have been
Okay.
profiled about that a lot.
That's like, I know it's kind of stereotyping that like people with long hair and a beard just like listen to metal. Not all of them do. Some are getting close to Jesus, or others just really like the aesthetic. You know, it's a nice aesthetic to have. I would have it if
It's
I
not
could grow
mine.
facial hair, but I have bald spots. It's like, can't do it. And the less said about my mustache phase, the better.
Yeah, there's a few things I would like to improve about the aesthetic for my videos. That video was very rushed.
I really like the border and animation. Like, that was incredible. Like, I know it's just, it may seem little to you, but like, that is a really nice, clean presentation that it could be as imperfect as possible, and I wouldn't really care because, you know, it's so much effort was put into the animation of your little puppet.
I've already actually redone the border to be smoother.
Wow, you have a decent turnout. Like the chat's pretty populated.
Yeah, there's just 3 viewers, but it's nice.
Yeah.
I'm just glad to have people to talk to.
Yeah. So, how's the Star Fox Road to Gold going?
Probably one more stream to finish the original Star Fox.
I will watch it, but I'm always at work during that, so
Oh yeah,
I do love Star Fox though.
I did want my style to be a bit smoother, Super Flame. It is just I was in a lot of a time crunch with what I was doing. I think that in general my presentation would be just a bit smoother and cleaner in the future with more time to prepare things. I promised that video in 2 weeks, and I took just over 2 weeks because even with the time span, things were a little tight.
Yeah.
But yeah. What was ability? I think it'd be good if he had a counter move. I might go back on this, where he basically flexes his bulk to push things around that bump into him. Situations that would normally hurt or knock him around, turning into one where he can rebuff things. If this is too busted of an ability, I might decide not to do it, because it could lead to him to just not being killable. But I think it would play well with his slow speed and big weight. She is the exact opposite. She would have
I'll say
the
I
smallest
do like
size
the
in
designs
the
of the completed characters. Like,
Yeah.
it's really cool. Did you do that yourself?
Yeah.
Wow.
She is the smallest and lightest character of these 4, but her speed is the highest. And I had decided, I can't remember if it was on or off stream, but I actually did get an idea for her ability already. And it's basically Smash Villager's Pocket. Where, similar to that, she can take an item and store it in her pocketbook. What that could allow you to do, for example, is have like 2 different shoes that you want to use and like swap them on the fly, whereas other characters would not have that customizability. It makes her core gameplay very fundamental oriented, where she doesn't have a like unique ability that makes her play differently, but she can just keep different power-ups on her at a time to just swap her specking. I think that could be really interesting. And also turn the pocketbook into something functional. Not just a part of her character design. So yeah, that's
Are any of these characters based on anyone in real life, you know?
Nope.
Alright. Straight from your imagination. I do like Brothas. He's the designs are like really just kind of goes for like that nerd look, but just very just the sense of fashion is just really cool.
That's what I was going for, and I'm glad to hear somebody notice it without me having spelled it out to them. So. You might notice that they're wearing socks, and that's because shoes are power-ups in this game.
Ah, okay.
So
I
all
kind of
characters...
thought they were just shoes, but like, cartoon shoes or something.
Yeah, no, they're all wearing socks because you get shoes to get power-ups with different abilities.
Okay.
Not yet, but it's not... Shoes aren't going to be the only power-ups anyway. So there's going to be just other things you can pick up that might be more feminine.
Yeah.
I had a discussion with my sister after the last stream about how it might be a bit of a it might be misconstrued if I have the only feminine item in the game be a detriment, being high heels.
Yeah.
There was meant to be a bit of a positive aspect to that of, like, men don't actually wear heels, and these men would be having the ability to wear heels. And, like, men don't typically understand how difficult it is to wear heels, so having them as a detriment is like, hey, look, these guys are wearing heels and seeing what it's like that women deal with all the time, right? But by making the only feminine thing in the game that you can equip being a negative hindrance would be a bad thing.
Yeah.
I agree with that. It just means adding more things. Haven't gotten to that point yet. But
Why don't you just replace it with a flat? Flats are nice.
well,
Not that I
actually,
know anything about them, but-
one of the other detriments of heels actually is that they make your hitbox bigger because you're taller. I want this to be a gendered game that doesn't strictly adhere to gendered norms. Taking the
Are any of
positive...
these characters non-binary by any chance?
No, but Bro is trans.
Oh, okay.
Trans mask.
That's cool.
Bro is also pre-op. I'm not sure exactly how these details will manifest in the final game. Given there's no story to it, it's just a multiplayer game. But
Yeah.
that is part of Bro's identity.
Cool.
I might make more than 4 characters, but this is my minimum.
Are there any other feminine shoes you were thinking about putting in? Like maybe, I don't know, ballet slippers? I mean, that's not really
Ballet
feminine.
slippers is actually a good idea. I'd have to think about that.
I mean, they're comfortable. You can dance in them.
No, I didn't
It's
even
just
think
like-
about that. Ballet shoes, like a nice pink pair of ballet shoes.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to insist. Oh, only girls do ballet, but it's kind of like a
Well,
like
no,
a woman,
by the fact that
woman-dominated
this is...
form of art.
I only
so-
want one female character in this cast. The
Also,
whole...
is that your sister in the chat?
Yes.
Ah, how's it going, Allie?
The whole point of the little sis character is that she is the exception. And the part of... I made her very feminine because I wanted her to stand out as... Like, usually when you have one female character in a cast of guys with the theme around being like, yo, it's the bros with, like, bro code shit, you know?
Yeah.
Which is the theming of this game. Usually she is only allowed in because she's one of the guys. She's a tomboy, right?
So kind of like the sweet D of the group.
I'm thinking that I would make her effeminate as to show that that is not incompatible with the idea of the bro code or, you know, the positive understandings of masculinity, you know?
Yeah.
That is, I thought it would be undermining it a bit if I made her a tomboy. That said, part of the whole gag of the character is that in an all-male cast, she's the girl.
Yeah.
Which is a trope, but in this case, it's supposed to be leaning on it with literally the name of the game is Da Brothers. So she's little sis. It's difficult to balance taking down gendered norms while having a gendered theming to the game.
Yeah.
So my
I mean,
general
anyone
goal
can
is
be
to
a bro,
try...
in my honest opinion.
Oh, yeah. That's part of why she's here.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to And that's why she's such a dramatic exception case of what you typically consider as masculine, as to not treat it as, like, the only reason she's allowed is because she's masculine enough, you know?
Yeah. Although,
Like,
the character of Brohemoth is like, you might get some fat phobia, like, claims about that. Are you going to address
actually,
that in
that's... I wanted him to have that big bruiser. He's not actually that fat, it's a little bit. It's mostly bulk, but on top of that, I actually wanted him to have that well-dressed, clean, and prim look outside of his obviously, like, bandaged face showing that he gets into scuff.
Okay.
And he's not portrayed as the dumb meathead. He's not dumb.
Alright.
He's
it's
just a
like
bruiser.
the angry eyebrows and like that eyes kind of convey
I know.
that. And the bean mouth's like, I'm about to get into a fight.
Well, but that's because he's a bruiser, and that fits into his gameplay where he's the heavyweight who pushes people around.
Alright.
And not leaning into that would be a little weird for his gameplay style. But
Makes
I didn't
sense.
want to lean into, like, the dumb, poorly dressed, you know, that stereotype. So that's where I'm really trying to not lean into it. Honestly, I kind of think a lot about Wilson Fisk with his character design.
Yeah.
You know, where he's like, he's chubby, he's big, bulky, and he's a bruiser, but he's got I want him to have, like Wilson Fisk, a white suit.
That could work.
You know, where it's just
Yeah.
a statement. It's somebody who, through his sheer presence and persona, isn't taken as a joke, and you have to take him seriously, you know?
Alright.
That's my thought. I've definitely been trying to tread the line as much as I can.
What's my dog barking at?
It's difficult, but I also am definitely trying to take critique on that. I think that some of the rough edges of some of these characters would be better accentuated with more characters to show that it's less of a singular case and more broad strokes.
Okay.
I don't like confirming characters' races, unless it's important to the narrative. I like just more designing the characters on a personal note to just visually represent certain ethnic or racial groups, but like it's interpretive to you on where exactly they fall on that line.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
like a tan complexion with brown hair, for example, you know?
I definitely have images in my head for what I'm modeling on. Bro, I went for the dark hair as his natural hair tone and like a more yellowy pale skin.
Okay.
I'm looking for Brohemoth to be more of like a naturally like reddish blonde with like a Irish-esque pale skin.
Okay.
And I'm thinking for Little Sis, I might go somewhere in the direction of like a Middle Eastern skin tone.
Yeah.
Hair color I'll need to figure out. She might just have dyed hair.
Yeah, I kind of see, or maybe just like, you know, black hair with like a purple streak, you know, that could be cute.
Yeah, although the black hair with like a partially dyed to it is already something Bro's doing.
Yeah.
So I do definitely
Well,
want to consider... that doesn't mean it would blend in. I'm just saying I want to consider making sure each of them stand out and have a strong individuality.
Okay.
I don't know.
Now, is this like a fighting game, or is like,
It plays like the battle mode from Super Mario Bros. 3 and Mario All-Stars, which is like an
Oh.
expanded version of Arcade Mario Bros. And I want to expand it from that point.
honestly, that was always one of my favorite multiplayer modes in the NES games.
Not even the NES version, the Super Nintendo version. Because they expanded it in the Mario All-Stars. It's got like a ton of features.
Confession,
Well, more
I
than.
haven't played the All-Stars version.
Anytime you get the chance, like they added items to it. They added like a 2-hit health system, a knockback mechanic, and like a 2 number of points scoring thing.
Okay.
I wanted to add more playable characters with unique abilities, more stages, and more items.
And are you gonna
especially.
have like boss battles by any chance?
No, this is going to be a multiplayer-oriented game. I'm not thinking of doing a boss battle thing. If there's a single-player mode, I would think it'd be score attack oriented.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't think I want to do the designing of the more finalized characters for the other two on stream, because it took almost the entire stream to get Brosif down, and I don't want to have it, like, just take weeks to get these guys done. So
Yeah.
I will try to have these done by next week, but we'll see. I would like to work on something else on stream than just this. Yeah, no, we can talk about that. I'm also just looking into color palettes. That's definitely how I've been deciding these things. But, yeah. With that, I'm, like, 13 minutes past the time I was gonna stop by. So,
I'm sorry.
also, that's fine. I have plenty to talk about. Also, my brother just got home, which is the thing I wanted to stop before. So, this is a good time to stop. I'll see you guys next time. Gonna hopefully finish Star Fox next Tuesday, which is the 30th anniversary of the series, like, the very day. So, hey. See you guys. Have a good weekend.